So hello and welcome to my introductory video of using LaTeX. So basically, LaTeX is a software system that is designed for producing scientific as well as technical documentations. So for example, we use LaTeX to write manuscripts for publication. You can also use it to write curriculum vitae, and also we can use it to write mathematical papers, for instance, the equations of mathematics. So in this video, we are going to look at the introduction basics on how we can use LaTeX to produce a manuscript for publication by just looking at the overview of the sections of the manuscript, as well as doing cross-referencing. So an example here is this document. So this is an article or a manuscript, and it has the sections. For instance, we have the introduction section, the author section, the abstract, and then the sections of the manuscript from introduction. And within the manuscript, we also have images. So what we want to look at here is how do we incorporate the images within the LaTeX document, and how do we do the cross-referencing of those images. For instance, in this line, you can see here, I have given an example here that the LaTeX logo is shown in figure 1. So this one is not manually put. It is automatically coded for when we will look at the LaTeX document. And also, what you need to note here is the sections are in numerical. For instance, the introduction is section 1, then the methods is section 2. But within the methods, again, we have the subsections. So within the methods, we have like section 2.1. And again, we can also move downwards to the subsections. So this is actually the beauty of using LaTeX, because all these are automatically generated when you compile the LaTeX document. And you can also incorporate tables, and the tables do have legends, and also cross-reference within the document. And also, most importantly, is the citations. So welcome and enjoy this session. So we are going to delve into the practical section, and we are going to use the online version of using LaTeX. And one of the commonly adopted online version of LaTeX usage is the Overleaf. So think of Overleaf like the Word docs, okay? But here it helps you to write a LaTeX document. So if you don't have an Overleaf account, you can simply Google Overleaf, and then within there, you can actually register or create an account with them. So for me, I already have an account, and I have several projects running. That's why you are seeing here a lot of projects already here. But if it is your first time, you can actually create projects here, and the project will open. So for my case, I already have a project. So this is the project I'm going to use for this session. So I can already click it and it will open up. So in my case, I have just clicked already a project, but also you can check for a good way to start is always to use the templates. So templates are predefined layouts or structures of, for instance, a manuscript. For a specific journal, they already have these templates. For instance, now you can search for any template. You see the like Overleaf templates. So these templates exist, for instance, for CVs, for theses, and many more. So for instance, we can look at the templates for one of the journals. So let's look at this journal, for instance. Yes. So when you already have an account and you already log in and you come here to templates, you can just click one of the templates. So for instance, in this, you can click on it. So when you click on a template, it will bring for you an option to open it in Overleaf. And if you click on open a template, it will already bring you to the Overleaf template. But for my case, I already opened the template, and that is what we are going to use for this session. So in this LaTeX document, we have, so one of the sections is called the preamble section, which always come just before the keyword begin document. So anything that is above this line. So what I'm highlighting all the way from the start of the document, that is what makes us the preamble section. So generally, this section is used to do formatting, right? You use it to do the formatting, like you can, set the margins of the document, and even the orientation, the number of columns. For instance, in this case, we are using a one-column document. But the good thing with this template, also to reiterate, is that they always come with the comments. So when you are in this document, anything that you're seeing starting with the modulo or percentage sign, they are considered as comments. So for instance, here, if you remove any of these comments, then you will make that that line to be, you can see the color is changing. So when you run this document, this line will be compiled, all right? But if you put the percentage sign, then it becomes a comment, right? So in this document, the first preamble section is always to specify the document class. So document classes are various, exist in various forms. For instance, you can have an article, you can have a thesis, and many more. So in this case, we are using, like, for instance, an article, okay? And if you wanted to change, like, for instance, make this article to be in 2 columns, there's a section that you can change. So for instance, you can uncomment this line, you can see here, and then comment this first line, okay? So when you compile this, we are going to see that it's going to exist in 2 columns. So let's see. So you can see our document now is in 2 columns, and you can see something here, that each line here or each sentence is numbered. So that numbering, it is being brought about by this section, the line and number document in this section. So if you remove the line number here, this section will not be numbered. This document will not be numbered. So the reason why this numbering is always done, for instance, when you submit the manuscript for a publication, it always becomes easier for the reviewers to point on specific lines that the authors should take into consideration. And also the authors will be referring to those lines when they are addressing the comments, okay? So I will hash out, or I will comment this section, and then I just go to our initial document. So this is the section that you use for doing the compiling, okay? So as I have said, that one we've seen how to do the setup of mentioning the document type. And the manuscript, of course, always have to have a title. So most of these sections, you will already know, you'll already see which section here you can use to add the title. So this is the section that we are using. So you see here the keyword, the backslash, and then the keyword title, which is actually highlighted in blue, not highlighted, but the color is blue. So if you can actually change these to anything based on now the title of your manuscript. This is why we call this a template. You just use it to format your document. So you can say learning, how to use LaTeX. Okay, and then when you compile that, you will see that you see now the title section will be updated. So let's go back to our original title, which was Introduction to LaTeX. Now, another section is for the authors section. There are other sections here which you can actually, when you download these templates, you can explore them by your own. But the most important thing here is how do you add authors? So the authors are added by using the author keyword. So this is the line that is actually adding the authors in this manuscript example. So you can see here, the first author is author one. So this is the section that we are actually adding the author. And authors always have affiliations. So this square bracket here, it is used to add the affiliation of the author. So the affiliation is defined later on in a different line, like in line 93. This is where we are defining the author affiliation. So this means that the author that will have a tag of one, you will state here the department of the author and even the institution and even the country, and like that. So if you say author two, it means that the affiliation of the author is number two. Okay. Now, there's something that is unique for the third author, right? So how do you add the correspondence? So most of the correspondence authors, they always have a star in them, but you can actually check with the document or journal. So in this case, we want to add a star to the last author or the last of this manuscript. As you can see, the author have a star on it. So this is how we add it. So you write the affiliation, the comma, and then you add the star. So if you wanted to make the first author to be the correspondence in this case, you can actually come back here and say comma, and then add star there. Then when you compile this, let's wait as it compiles. So you can see here now, the first author have now the correspondence. So remember, there are several ways of doing this. When you look at when you Google online, you will see there are other ways of including the correspondence author. Okay. So let's go back to how it was initially, and again do the compiling. So what you're seeing here, just to come up a bit on this, is it will tell you some of the issues that you need to address. So for instance, in this case, we have 8 issues, but they are not serious issues. So if you have any error, it will always show you red here. A good example is, let's say I've included, instead of writing title here, I remove the E and then do the compiling. Let's see what will happen. So you see here, the number of issues have increased from 8 to 11, and now it is highlighted in red. So this red, if you go to the manuscript, it will tell you which section do you need to actually focus on. So you can click on this and see which line number has the issue. So if you look at this case, it will tell you that it is this file called main.tex that has the issue, and it is line 80. So you can double click on it, or you can just click on it, and it will take you to the section and do the correction here and do the update. So you can update here now the title. And when you do the compiling again, now you can see. So, oh, sorry, I actually did a mistake. So it should be title. So let me just write it in full. And then we do the compiling again. Yeah, so you see we are back to our manuscript, right? So that is how you can easily maneuver in terms of solving errors when it comes to LaTeX. Now, another section here, for this template, you already have a section for writing the abbreviations. For instance, here, You can write any abbreviation, like let's say I'm learning LaTeX, so you can just replace all these abbreviations with whatever you want um, um, to write, like say I'm learning LaTeX, and this would be introduction to LaTeX, right? So you just update this to be introduction LaTeX. Okay. When you do all these compilations, everything here will update. Okay. So you can see the abbreviation section down here. It will tell you what all the abbreviations mean. We have the section for keywords here. So this one, you just insert the keywords of your manuscript based on what you want to focus on. So for instance, here, one of the keywords could be LaTeX. And I want to emphasize the keyword. That is why you're using the keyword emphasize. So I can say Overleaf, right? So anytime you do the update here, these things are automatically being updated, and you can do the compiling and see the updated section of the keyword. So you can see we have the keywords here, which is LaTeX, and then we have the Overleaf. Okay, good. So let's go to the sections. So in LaTeX, you can use the keyword sections to divide the manuscript into several sections. When I gave you an example of this manuscript, I told you that this manuscript is divided into several sections, starting from the introduction, given number 1, then you see methods is number 2. So how do I achieve that in LaTeX? So when you come to these examples, you just use the keyword section. Okay, so this line 118. Okay, so what you're going to use here is just write section. Okay, and then what do you want to name that section to? So in this case, I'll use introduction. So okay, I'm going to show you what this labeling is used for, but let me hash this or comment it out. Okay, so you can see when we update that section, the introduction section is being updated on the right-hand side. Okay. Yeah, introduction 1. Good. So because this is the first appearance of the section, it is always been given the first numbering. So that's why you see 1 is appearing. So when you go to the next section, let's say for instance, in this case, the second appearance of section is line 134, where we have the methods. Okay, so the method section will be given number 2, and that is what you are seeing on this section. It is given number 2. Okay, now when you want to include subsections now within a section, so an example here is within the methods. In this example, we are looking at how to use LaTeX. So under here, we can say one of the sections here, we can say you can use LaTeX for writing manuscript. So we can make it to be one of the subsections under methods. So when you want to achieve that one in LaTeX, you just use the keyword subsection, as you can see in this case. So you can just say backslash, and then the good thing is when you use Overleaf, most of these keywords are already inbuilt. So you just start typing, and then it will give you an option, and then you click on what you want to come up with. So you just click on subsection and then say writing manuscript. Okay. So when you do this compilation, you will see that you see now because this is the first subsection, is given 2.1, another subsection 2.2. So this is how you actually add the subsections within the manuscript. Lastly is how do you add subsections, sub-subsections again. So within subsections, you see, you can go deep or inwards to again write, subsections. So like in this document, we are looking at how to write a manuscript, right? But within a manuscript, writing a manuscript, there are several types of manuscript. So you can be interested to write a 2-column manuscript based on the journal, documentation, or you can be interested to write a 2-column manuscript. So these sections, we are going to call them subsections. So that is in line 149. Okay, so you just come and say sub. So you can see already we have the option for that. Then you can just copy paste or update what you want to include here. Okay, so that is how we are coming up with the subsections. So a good thing I'd like to advise you here, mostly you can always transfer your document that is already written, like let's say in Word, right? And then now just come here and do the copy pasting within the relevant sections. So the next thing I want us to look at is how do you add citations? So citations is one of the fundamental aspects of writing a manuscript. So these citations, they always is always complex. If you don't manage them well, then when you do it manually, it becomes very difficult when maybe you want to update or delete or even add a citation. So a good thing with LaTeX, like for instance, now in this Overleaf project, one thing you need to know is this file called sample.bib. So this sample.bib, it is a type of file that contains the citations in LaTeX format. So it ends with .bib. However, this file, you can actually rename it. So for instance, you can actually just come here and say, I want to rename it to citation. Okay. So you can name it any name that you want, right? But let's just leave it the way it was, example.py. So when you come here, this is roughly how the citations are always inserted in LaTeX. So you see here we have the keyword here. So this is a unique ID for each citation. And then this is the tag for mentioning that this citation is for an article. In some cases, it can be a book or even, sometimes you want to cite a website. There is a different tag here. So for this case, we are using articles. Now, how do you obtain these citations in this format? So various journals or even published papers, you'll see an option for downloading citations in LaTeX format. And a good example here, I always, you can actually use, let's say, Google Scholar. Let's say you have gotten a manuscript in Google Scholar, okay? So you can, let's say, search any article here. So let's say using LaTeX. Let's see if we will get any article on using LaTeX. Good. So we have a lot of options here. So let's say Overleaf. This is just an example. So don't worry about this because we just want to show you how do you add. Yeah. So for instance, we have gotten this manuscript. We want to make a citation or add citation in LaTeX. So you come here to cite. So here we always have several options. We have the MLA citation, the APA, the Chicago, and many more. But all these citations, they are not formatted in terms of LaTeX. So if you want to convert this citation into LaTeX or get the LaTeX version of this citation, you can just come here in the BibTeX section. So you can click on it and you can see, okay? So what you can do is just to copy this citation the way it is and come to this document and add it anywhere. So provided you actually add it within this document, you can leave a space or not. Yeah. So let's say you want now to cite this document. So to cite this document, you need to know the keyword here. This is an under 2023. So you come to back to your main.tex. So let's say you want to add it in the introduction section. So sorry, this one I had just put another citation, but let's do away with it. Then we add a citation now. So when you want to add citation, this one is in-text citation, remember that? So you just add the keyword cite, and already you have several options. So we want to enclose our citations in parentheses, right? So parenthesis-based citation. So that is what cite P means. And that is what we want to insert in this case, okay? Cite P. So when you say cite P, you will already have options from your citations in the .bib file. So you can see here, you already have citations arranged in order. So the citation that you want to add here is Ananda 2023. So you can actually type it manually, or you can just click on it and then you add the citation. Now let's do the compilation here and see and go to the introduction section of the paragraph. Okay, so let's see if our citation has been added. Yeah, so you see this point here, at the end of this paragraph, we have added a citation and it is in APA style. So all these you will learn later on how do you change these if you want to get numbering, citations or APA citations. So within the preamble that I mentioned, you can do all those updates. Okay, good. Now, maybe you are asking yourself now, how do you do the citation for more than one, articles or more than one citations? So what you do, you just come back here. If you want, if this information was maybe extracted from a number of citations you have within your .bib file, so you just say, let's say this is the first citation, then you separate with comma. So you see when you write comma, the options here is already excluding the initial citation that you've added here, okay? So let's say the other citation you want to add here is for this Lee 2010. So those commas will help you to add the citations, okay? So let's do the compiling again and see the updated citation. So you can see here, the Ananda ETL 2023, semicolon, and then the LaTeX ETL 2010. So that is how you add multiple citations within LaTeX. Now, there's other version of citation when you want to, emphasize on, let's say, the section of a paragraph. So you want to start with, the citation rather than it being at the end of the paragraph. A good example is this line here. According to, let's go to the PDF version and see how that that line reads. So according to, LaTeX ETL 2010, so you can see here, we only want the year to be in parentheses, okay? It's a different version of of doing the citation to mean the emphasis. So in that section, in that option, there are two ways of doing that. So I already put a citation here, but I'm going to just delete it and then we come up with another citation. So you can say, let's say cite. So you are going to either use this option of only using cite option and then add the citation there. Okay, let's do the compiling and see if it will update as we want. So as you can see, our citation has been updated with only the year being in parentheses. Another thing that you can do is, another keyword that you can use is always cite text. Okay, let's see if this will work. Then we add the citation. We say, we are just adding the random citations because this is just an illustration. Let's compile and see if that one will also work. Good. So you can see all the options work, either if you use the cite T means text, right? Or you just use cite on. Okay. Now, you might be wondering, how do you obtain, a paragraph in LaTeX? Okay. How do you start a paragraph in LaTeX? So starting a paragraph is simply leaving a blank line. So for instance, in this line 122, it is signifying the start of a new paragraph. Okay, line 122, or even line 120. So if you remove this line, let's see what will happen to the first paragraph that starts with according to. So let's do this compiling again. So you can see here now, this according to, it has been brought to the first paragraph. Okay, so that means that for you to symbolize the start of a paragraph, just start a new line. Okay, yeah, that is why even in this one, you can leave a line there to show that you are starting a paragraph. So a paragraph is actually being indented, as you can see in this section here. Okay, so we've seen how to do one author citation, multiple citations, and also the text-based citation when you want to only the year to be in parentheses. Now we are going to see how to now add figures. So in this manuscript, you can say we have figure 1 here. Then we have another figure. We have figure 2 here. So the question here is, how do we insert figure in LaTeX? So remember, this is a template, of course, but provided you already have the code that is being used to put this figure, you can put any figure here. So this is just a placeholder figure. We are going to update this figure real time and use for instance, this is the LaTeX logo. I've already downloaded it. So we are going to see how do you add a figure. But let's see which code is incorporating this figure here. So you can double click on this figure. So you see, when you do double clicking, it will, within this editor, it will take you to the section that contains the code for outputting this figure. Okay. So the guideline here is any figure, you will start with the keyword begin and then figure. In this case, it's figure. If it is a table, it will begin table, right? So, and then anytime you begin something, you have to end it using the same keyword. So we have begin and figure. Now, because we want to do cross-referencing of this figure, and for us to actually achieve this, we add the label to the figure. So this labeling is this label is what we will be using to do cross-referencing at different sections of the figure so that you don't do manual, you see, manual referencing of figures. Then the figures also have captions here. Then you can actually set the dimensions of the figure, setting width. You play around with this. What you need to know is that this width, if it exceeds the margins, then you will get a warning at this point. Okay. So a warning or some of these issues are always highlighted. Like for instance, if you just hover on this thing, it will tell you that introduction label is undefined. Remember when we were explaining on how to use sections, I told you that we are going to look at, I'm going to tell you what the labels after the introduction section mean. So in this manuscript, for instance, we are doing cross-referencing, but I'm going to come to that one later on. This is where you include a label on the section and then you do cross-referencing later on. Okay, now let's go back to this this example. So here we want LaTeX logo. Okay, so this, after you've mentioned or after you have set the figure dimension, then you include the name of the photo. So what is inside in this curly bracket is the name of the photo, and that photo should exist or must exist within this file section. Okay, if it doesn't exist, then you'll get errors. For instance, if you say, let's say image rectangle A, we will get an error. So you can see now it is highlighted in red again. You can see which section has the error, and also you can also click on this section and see which specific section. So I want us to update this so that we have the exact logo. So you can upload the image using this icon here. So you can see when you hover, it tells you you can upload a file. Okay, so let's upload a file, and in this case, this file is actually existing. I already had downloaded it. So we want the Overleaf logo. Okay, so you just say open. So because I already have the Overleaf logo, I had already uploaded it. It is just warning me here whether I want to overwrite it. So I'll just say overwrite. But if that will exist if you already have the file existing. But if, let's rename this and then let's say, so that we do the uploading of an image that does not exist. So I'm going back to now upload photo, go to select files, and then we have the Overleaf logo. Open that. So it is still existing. So let me just rename it here. I want to rename it so that we do a fresh upload. So let me go back to, so you can say, you can actually drag also, you can drag the file here if you have it. But here I'm just going to files. So you see, so we already have the Overleaf logo. Okay. So when you go back to our file, now again here it will get the options for all the images that are existing within the file system. So this means that all these photos are existing, but in our case, we want the Overleaf logo. So let's add their Overleaf logo and do compiling. So good. So you can see here now we have the Overleaf, and by default, it is given figure 1. So this labeling, it's automatically being achieved through the backend. executions of the overleaf or LaTeX, any first appearance of figure is numbered 1. So when you get the next figure, it will be numbered 2. Okay. Now, let's say we want this width to be 9. So let's see what will happen. Change the width. So that is still within the margins. I want it to exceed the margins to see which error will or which issue it will raise. Okay. Good. So when you increase this width to 15, the issues here have increased to 9 from 8. And also you can see we have an highlight here. So what this warning is telling you, well, it is not really an error, but just a warning here. It's a slight warning that this line or the figure is actually exceeding the margins. So you can see even it is displaced within our manuscript. So it is actually be placed at the bottom of the figure, at the bottom of the manuscript. So you can see it will deformat most sections of the manuscript. Okay, so let's go back to width is equals to 9. So that is how you insert the figures. So the same thing will happen. How do you insert tables? Okay, so you just go to this PDF version and double click here so that it tells you which code is actually outputting this table. Okay, so please remember that anything that exists like a figure or even a table, it starts with the keyword begin, and then it follows with what is it that you're beginning. So in this case, we are beginning what? A table. And this table is about LaTeX packages and things like that. So this is just a caption. You can update based on your caption as you can customize this. And then because we want to reference this table later on within this manuscript, that is the next section I'm going to show you, you can actually update this, this section. So you can say maybe packages. So this one you can name anything, this label. So you can say packages table. Okay. Say packages table. So this will help us to do cross-referencing. Okay. And then these are just other formatting. For instance, this is you want the length of the columns, the first column to be 3 centimeters, the second column to be 2, like that. Okay, so these are just setting the column lengths, the widths of the columns. How wide should they be? Okay. Now you add here this H line means horizontal line. So you see in this output here, you can see we have here the horizontal lines. So these horizontal lines you are seeing here, they are actually being put in the figure due to or in the table due to this line of code, horizontal line. So I want horizontal line between, you see, software, Overleaf, LaTeX. As you can see on the table 1, we have horizontal line, and then between compatibility all the way to the package management, there is no active horizontal lines, but we just add the sections or the items in separate columns. So adding sections in separate columns, you use this keyword and the key symbol. You use this key symbol. So this means the first column, then the second column I want yes, the third column I want this, the fourth column and the fifth column, like that. Then these double slashes shows as you are starting a new line, as you are starting the new row. Yeah, actually, you are starting a new row. So it will actually output all those information. So these ones you can just update. Remember, if you have here, for instance, 4 columns. So this also should be 4. So means here that this means that you should do away with the last sections also in this write-up, so that we have 3 columns or 4 columns. Okay, so let's do the compiling here and see if we will do away with the last column. Okay, so you can see the last column has gone. And now because the last column has gone, the table has shrinked inward. So let's say we want to increase this one to 4 centimeters, the first column to be 4 centimeters, the second column, let's say 3, let's say also this one 3, and this, yeah, so let's see what will happen when we leave it at that. Yeah, so you can see that the table is now widened in terms of length. So you can actually customize this based on what you want to to get. Okay. Good. So that's how you insert tables. And again, the same way I said, this is table 1 because it's the first appearance of the word table and the keyword table. If you have another table, it will be automatically be updated within this document. So let's go to now, how do we do the cross-referencing? So I'm going to start with the cross-referencing sections. Now, if you look at this document, a PDF document, there's a paragraph here that mentions that in this document, section this and section X refers to this, section this refers to this, like, in this line of code or this line of manuscript. Okay, so in this manuscript section, good, I've actually seen gotten another issue here. So in LaTeX, if you cross-reference something that does not exist, or you cross-reference, let's say even if you are inserting references and they do not exist, they will always be symbolized by double question marks. So this means if you see it, it means there is something that you've not actually defined well. So we are going just to rectify this. So section this introduces the manuscript. Section 2, details on the details of the manuscript, like that. So let's see how this has been done. So the first thing you need to do is to go to sections that you want to cross-reference. So for instance, you go to section 1, which is introduction. Let's go to the introduction section. Yeah. So you see, I had removed this initial line I had written, and now we have come back to it. So I'll remove the comment here. So this is how you add a label to a section. So you write the section first of all, and then use at the end of it, you use a keyword label and then what you want to use for referencing. Now, after you have added the label, now you can go to the section which you can go to the paragraph where you want to cross-reference this section. So for instance, you can say this is reference section, and then you use the keyword ref. So ref is used to do the cross section. So after you've used the ref, then it will bring for you all the labels that exist in your manuscript. Like for instance, we want to now cross-reference the introduction. So let's see if we do the compilation of this. Let's go to the, so you see here, this is a cross-reference section 1. So it has automatically brought that section here. So if you click on this, it will actually take you to that section. If you want to continue, you can say another section, just say ref, and then let's say methods and section, then again, \ref, conclusion. Okay, so let's do compilation for that and see the update. So you can see here, this is a cross-section. This is a cross-section reference. This is a cross-section reference. So you have section 1, section 2, section 3, like that. Okay. So that is how you do the cross section. Now the same thing happens to when you want to now cross-reference a figure. So remember I told you when you want to cross-reference a figure, we will make use of the label. So like in this case, we have a label LaTeX logo. So you just go to where you want to make reference to this figure. So let's say in this case, you want to say the Overleaf logo is shown in, so it is a figure. So you start with capital figure, okay? And then backslash, then ref, then LaTeX logo. Okay, so you have cross-referenced that figure. So the label here. So the good thing with this is if you don't cross-reference anything, you will see an error somewhere. So let's see. So sometimes it's always good to actually avoid a lot of manual lookup. So you can actually come here and do Control F, and you can actually paste what you want to look within the document. Like in this, the PDF, you can see now, I can quickly see this section I was looking for. So the Overleaf logo is shown in figure 1. So it is updated in this section, okay? But remember, if you are in this editor section, you ensure that your cursor is within this section, and then you click on Control F, the same thing, and then you can say, I want to maybe edit Overleaf or see where Overleaf exists. So it will tell you how many times it exists and do any updates that you want to do as necessary. Okay. So that is it for just the basics of learning LaTeX using Overleaf. But after you are done, the last thing you might be interested is to have the PDF version of your manuscript or of your manuscript. So what you do after you've done you can do the compilation, okay? And then finally, you just download the PDF, okay? So the beauty with this is that if you go to the PDF version, the downloads, you'll get it, and then you will see that it is existing as PDF. Okay. Good. So I hope this session really helped you so much. So in my next videos, we will look at more complex details about LaTeX. So thank you so much.